Now in this final section, we're simply going to kick out a nice render of our I love 3D TI logo or text here. So to start off with, we're going to go back into the render setup, which again is F10 on your keyboards. And we're going to go ahead and change the output size to HDTV all the way down to the bottom. Now 19 by 20 by 1080 is actually really big, especially for the internet. You generally wouldn't be using an image size quite this big, so I generally render everything at about 1280 by 720. You can definitely feel free to render larger if you like, but for this project we're just going to go ahead and use 1280 by 720. Next, we'll just go over to the render tab here, and we're just going to go ahead and set the quality. We're just going to change this basic quality here to the classic / ray traced sampling mode first, and we're just going to change this to 1 and 16. Now this is going to increase our render times quite a bit, but it is going to smooth out any issues that we have with any of our lighting or any of our reflections. These are good basic settings to go with for the most part for rendering these kinds of images, especially when you start to increase the render size. You definitely want to think about adjusting these. Now obviously both of those increase render time, so you want to be careful with that. You want to make sure that you have time to kick out the kind of render that your client wants, but you know, for this project it shouldn't be much of a problem. And now with all those settings set, we're pretty much ready to go. So once again, this will be my final rendering, so I'm just going to go ahead and click render, and I'll pause the video while it renders. And once again, through the magic of video, the rendering is instantly completed, although this one took almost 3 minutes. So larger render size, slightly larger rendering quality. You see a lot less graininess in the shadows now, and you know, much nicer quality overall, much nicer big image. So that wraps up the rendering portion here. Just a quick little session here where we just change the render settings a little bit by going into the render setup dialog box and starting in the common tab and changing our video output size to HDTV and 1280 by 720. Actually, it looks like I rendered it large, so yours probably won't take quite as long as mine did. And then simply going over to the render tab and changing these settings to 1 and 16, remembering to use the classic / ray traced method. That's just the more traditional one. The newer version is the unified ray traced, but for simplicity's sake, we're just going to use the classic and ray traced option, and we're using minimum and maximum of 1 and 16. Then we just simply rendered, and I for one, I'm pretty happy with the result. So I hope you guys had a similar rendering quality.